And Andrew's here, guys.
Hey,
Hello,
what's up,
I'm so
old
sorry,
man?
mate. How you doing? You all right?
What are you doing? I'm not used to being the angriest man on the panel.
Oh, I'm here now, mate. I'm here now. I could take that mantle off you, no problem.
we were just talking about Pepe, and Niall was saying he'd rather. Who'd you say you'd rather start, Niall?
I would rather play
Saka.
Saka.
Yeah,
Saka's been well on form. He's the same kind of player, really. He's very skillful, and I don't know. I just feel like if we're playing it on form, Saka's the one at the minute.
Would you start Pepe, Andrew?
I think at the moment we've got to continue with Pepe. I think it would affect his confidence even more if we dropped him, to be perfectly honest. And I'm hoping that the goal he scored whilst on international duty, again, is going to give him a bit more of a lift. I think that it's going to make a big difference having Lacazette on the pitch as well, because he's not had Lacazette so far, well, very, very briefly anyway. And I think that's going to make a big difference to Pepe's game. So I'm really concerned that by dropping it, because I was humming and ahhing, I must admit. No, I was along the lines of the way you were thinking, Niall, to be perfectly honest. But the more and more I thought about it, I think it'll be quite damaging if we left him out and dropped him on poor form when he's only made 5 starts in the Premier League.
I'm thinking the other way around, though. I'm thinking if we drop a £70 million player for a 17-year-old youngster, that is going to be so good for Saka. That's what I'm thinking.
Sorry, I was just going to say it'll be really, really unfair on Saka because he's done nothing wrong either, and it's a really, really tough choice. I mean, it could go either way. I'd be very reluctant to leave out Saka. I really would, but I'm also concerned, like I've already mentioned, about Pepe, and I really do think that he needs to play through this difficult spell.
I think Pepe's going to get better with Bellerin and Tierney both in there at the same time, because we're going to be able to play. Since Unai Emery insists on playing out of the back no matter what, I think that's going to be much more of a better flow. That didn't even make sense, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Especially with Bellerin overlapping Pepe. You've seen it a lot where Pepe's had to drop back a lot because Maitland loves to run maybe too high up the pitch, and I feel like Pepe's had to kind of look after him and be responsible for Maitland-Niles a lot of the time. So we could see Bellerin link up with Pepe quite well. It's
a very good point. Yeah, he hasn't had a sort of a solid person to work with either, because he's been sort of interchanging between Maitland-Niles and Chambers, and I think Bellerin will make a massive difference to him, especially being on the overlap, taking away the defender as well, giving him more room to run into. I think that'd be another very good point.
Ryan, you haven't weighed in on what you would do against Sheffield United. Why am I acting like the host? I'm sorry, Ryan. You know why? Because I was in radio for years, and it just comes. I can't help myself. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'll be quiet now.
Just shut the fuck up, Glenn. Give Ryan a chance.
You talking like that, you should live in New York, fucker.
I've literally got to pop downstairs 2 minutes. Let my brother in because he's back from work now. I'll be back in a minute. You guys chat away, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Sorry about this.
Oh, you crack me up, Ryan. You're like a friend I have here in the States. If you want him to be somewhere, this friend I have in the States, you have to tell him to be there 15 minutes earlier than the real time. Yeah. That's Ryan.
The last time I back him up as well. He can fuck off now and all.
So what kind of lineup? I'll take over. Right, Andrew, what kind of lineup would you go with Sheffield United?
Well, I don't know whether Lacazette. We've probably all seen the video of Lacazette training, and I don't know whether he's going to be able to start yet. Hoping so, but I am probably thinking he's going to be on the bench personally. I haven't heard a lot about Bellerin as well. I've heard a lot about Tierney being ready to start. I haven't heard whether Bellerin's ready to start. So I'm going to have to assume that he's not, and I'll assume that Lacazette's not then. But I would go, if that's the case, I'll go with Chambers at the back. Well, another one I haven't heard much about is Holding, whether he's ready to start either.
Yeah.
I thought Holding and Bellerin were both ready with this hideous 2 weeks off.
I haven't read anything. I haven't had anything concrete.
Yeah.
I've looked on the Arsenal official website for all the news, and nothing has come out yet to say that they are. But actually, well, let's just assume that they are. I will say that let's assume that they are. Then let's go the other way. I'd have Bellerin obviously at the right back. I would have Holding and Louise at in the central defence. I would have Tierney.
Yeah.
We all know this ain't going to happen anyway, but let's go through it anyway.
Would you think positive for 5 seconds?
I'll have Guendouzi and Torreira sort of sitting a bit deeper.
Okay.
I would have Ozil slightly in front of them. And then I would have the front three of Pepe, Lacazette and Aubameyang.
Oh, you'd sit Ceballos or Ceballos, however you say it.
The big people you've left out there are Socrates, our captain Xhaka, and Ceballos.
Oh, yeah, that's wishful thinking. He's not going to sit his fucking captain.
Yeah.
Unai Emery's pushed all his chips on fucking Xhaka as far as his job goes.
Yeah, I know.
But I like your lineup except Ceballos instead of Ozil. You can bring Ozil. I want Ozil on the bench.
I'll be very happy with either, to be perfectly honest. I just want to see Ozil back integrated within the squad. And that's really unusual for me. You've probably seen and heard a lot of all the stuff I've said in the past, but it's another thing I've been thinking about a lot recently. You know, I just can't get past the fact that all the best bits of play we've had in the last 5 or 6 years, looking at all the highlights of all the best things we've been doing on the pitch, include Ozil. And I think I did read that interview with him on The Athletic, and a lot of it just makes a lot of sense, to be perfectly honest. He has been through a lot of crap in the last couple of years, you know. He really has. And it's got to have, he's a human being, and he's got to have affected him. And I would just love to see an Ozil that's really up for it on the pitch. And let's face it, we have given him loads of chances. We have. And if he fails this time, it's got to be his last chance. But I would just like to give him this one last chance, personally.
Do you think that the whole incident with the knife attack affect his performance at all? Because it hasn't really affected Blatter much.
Well, everyone's different, aren't they? And his wife was absolutely petrified. He was actually. Did you read the interview?
Yeah. So Ozil's wife is very keen on moving back to Germany or Turkey. So she's made that very public. She spoke to a few people about that. So Ozil is not only fighting his team and what he should do for his career, he's also fighting his family. Yeah. So,
well, and he just got married, right?
So, well, apparently she's okay now, though. If you read that interview, the latter part of the interview, it said that she's okay, happy to stay now, and but it's bound to have affected him.
I just have a feeling,
like I said, everyone's mental state.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I have a feeling every time Ozil does something bad or he gets bad press or anything bad happens to him in the team or off the pitch, he's going to have his girlfriend in the back of his head or back of his ear telling him that they should leave. I have a feeling that's happening.
Well, it all affects us differently. You know what I mean? It's some people are, can handle things a little bit better mentally, but you get PTSD from stuff like that. And I can understand his wife being, frightened. The thing is, he just got married, and I would think that her being frightened would make it more likely he would, want to leave for her. You know what I mean? Yeah. When you're married like me for a long time, no, we're not fucking leaving. I'm sorry. But and I don't mean that disrespectfully. Yeah. Married men know what I'm talking about.
Well, there have been talks about Besiktas. That's been quite a big talking point.
I honestly don't think he's going anywhere. I really, really don't. And I can't. That's the other big thing, because if everyone's on form, he's still our best player. There's no doubt about that. And we're paying him good money, as everyone keeps bringing up every 5 minutes. And it just seems if he's definitely going to be staying here. And I believe what he said. He's here, and I think he's hoping that he might outlast Emery as well. And why not use him? Why not use the guy's talent? Why not?
Give me 10 seconds, Niall, because I just want to repeat something I said earlier that Andrew didn't hear. I thought Ozil said all the right things, but I'm not going to listen to him until I see performance on the pitch. And if he starts on Monday, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to be watching and rooting for him. Okay, I'm sorry, Niall. Go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, we've also got the issue of Ozil, where it's a bit like with Alexis Sanchez when we had to do the swap deal with Man United. And honestly, we lost out on that deal massively. We are paying Ozil so much, and you could argue that his form and his recent performances of lack of playing time is going to affect his value. And now, if his value is lower and his wages are high, we are not going to get a good deal out of getting rid of him. So, from a business point of view, it might actually be better just to keep him. And
I would rather keep him, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
You've also got the shirt sales. He's one of the most followed players in our team. He's one of the most loved players in our team. So, what do you think, Andrew?
Well, I think that I'd rather keep him than send him away on loan and pay half of his wages. I mean, I can't see a point in that.
Yeah, because we're going to have to pay. We're going to either have to give him away for free or swap him for someone crap, or we're going to have to pay half the wages. That's basically what's going to go down.
Well, exactly. And I'm going to play devil's advocate with one other point. Everyone that watches football knows that for a player to reach his full potential, he has to have a run of games, uninterrupted run of games. When has he ever had that? The last 2 years without being dropped for a few games and then put back in, and then dropped and then put back in.
That's very true.
He hasn't. He hasn't at all. You have to get into a groove. You have to play several matches. We all know that as football fans, and he doesn't get that opportunity. So there's no point in giving him a 60 minutes here, 60 minutes there, and then not playing him for 2 or 3 games because no one's going to get into form.
Oh, I agree with that. I don't understand Unai Emery, and I want Unai Emery to succeed. But he punishes Ozil for supposedly not being tough and hard enough in practice, practicing hard enough. But he takes Xhaka, who leads the league in giveaways that lead to goals, and makes him the fucking captain. It's like, all right, so Ozil does. Harry of the Chronicles of Aguna brought this up the other day. I thought it was brilliant. It's like you're punishing Ozil for what he's doing in practice, but you're making Xhaka your captain. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand Unai Emery.
Yeah,
he's not done. He's not done anything wrong in the matches that he has played so far this season as a leader. To be perfectly honest, he's got a lot of bad press about everything every time he steps on the pitch. But from what I saw, he played well against Watford in the first half. He played well against Forest, and he was taken off and then humiliated. To be perfectly honest,
I'll tell you what though, Andrew, we have had a massive history, especially in the last 15 years, of having terrible cup runs. Pre-our FA Cup wins, we had bad FA Cup runs. We had even the Europa League. You could say we struggled at the start until we start playing our full team in the later rounds. But if we have Ozil as our second team player, you could say that might help us get to a lot higher rounds in the leagues, in the cup. Sorry.
Again, he's not. If you do that though, how's he going to get his match fitness and form? Because they're only once every 2 weeks, those games at the most. I think I don't know.
With the big festive period coming up after the next international break, where we've got literally like a game every 2 days, pretty much. I think that's when they'll start rotating. You'll see a lot more of Ozil in that late November, December time.
Well, that's another reason why I'm, I know we're all different, but I'm very positive about the team. We're deeper this year because the youngsters have taken that extra step early, and I'm very excited. I'm not worried about too many games because this squad to me, is deeper than it was last year.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the squad.
They don't tell the media that. They don't like that because of Arsenal. But with Chelsea, they're the saviours. They invest in their youth.
Oh, fuck that.
They're forgetting Chelsea are only using their youth now because they have to, not because they want to. No matter what Lampard says, because he keeps saying, "Oh, they deserve it." Yeah, they deserve it, but they wouldn't be getting a place, even a chance, if you weren't on a transfer ban.
Yeah, and Tammy Abraham's one of the highest scorers in the league now, and that's not because they put him in the team and they gave him a chance; it's because he's their only option.
It's a long season. Let Chelsea enjoy the success they're having now. It's a long season. They're not finishing top 4. The media likes it. I can see it all the time when I talk to you guys. The media just likes winding up Arsenal fans, because it gets them hits, the reaction to their shitty stories like that hit job on Mustafi. If my advice to you, Ryan, is don't watch the fucking media. because they do it here in the States too, with other stuff, not football. But, the media just trying to wind you up.
Yeah, did you guys see that there was an announcement today from Tottenham? Apparently,
Oh, yeah, Andrew saw it, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear this. What happened?
So, have you seen a Man City documentary, All or Nothing? They do a lot of different football clubs.
On Amazon Prime.
Yeah, so Tottenham announced today that this season they've been All or Nothing have been filming their season so far.
I put a tweet out about it. I'm so excited. I mean, it's the best possible opportunity, best season of all time to actually do this, and I can't believe it's done it. We're going to see them collapse and cry in front of our eyes.
Oh my God.
It's what you were just saying there, Glenn, wasn't it? About the media having an effect on you. I feel like that explains why Tottenham have been so bad. They've had cameras in their faces.
Oh, I can't. What a fucking awful choice. They have, for me, Tottenham have given up on playing for Pochettino. I don't think they're playing for him anymore. That is just ridiculous. That they're. You sure this documentary is still going and the director wasn't like, fuck it,
get out.
I'm done.
They did Sunderland, didn't they? And even though they got relegated, they're really bad.
Netflix.
I saw that on Netflix. Is that good? I keep meaning to watch it. It's on my watch list, but I haven't watched it yet. Is it good?
It's good, yeah, but halfway through the season, Sunderland wanted to cancel it, and they were like, "No, we've already done it. You got a contract. You got to keep it going." And I had such a good feeling that Tottenham are going to do that with us All or Nothing. If their form, maybe if Harry Kane gets injured, Son or whoever, something happens, it's going to be so funny.
Oh my God.
I mean, we're going to get St. Totteringham's Day in about February. So, and imagine their reaction. And you imagine when, like, Vertonghen goes and shags someone else's missus. It's going to be absolutely incredible. You might even do it on camera.
Like, the media should just be winding up Tottenham players a minute, just so this documentary is funnier. I swear.
It's going to be hilarious. I can't wait to see them capitulate right in front of my eyes.
I've been saying pretty much the last few weeks, when your key player in Eriksen, in my opinion, within a week and a half after the Champions League final result, is coming out with a statement saying, I'm looking elsewhere now. I want to move on. But if nothing comes along, I'm happy to stay, sort of thing. But you've got no choice in that matter. First,
it's so cheesy. He'd be run out of town if he was on Arsenal. But I'm saying when your best player does that, that's it. And then obviously the activity they lacked in the transfer window, no matter what the media say, it says a lot. And it's the fact that what if you believe the stories about Vertonghen, he's back at the end of he's in the last year of his contract. Odegaard as well. So, Dele Alli's over. He's dropping now. Son's arguably their best player. That wants to be there. Everyone else wants out.
Tottenham have had one of the best defences in the league for a good 6-7 years now. And when Vertonghen and Alderweireld leave, they're going to be a lot like us. They're going to struggle with the defence.
They've literally got one left back, and that's Danny Rose. If they're losing, they've got no other left back. They're going to be playing Sissoko. They're going to literally be playing Sissoko or somebody at fullback.
Sissoko's played right back.
Yeah, he played against us. He played right back.
I've got to pick you up on one thing as well, Ryan. You said that Dele Alli's fallen. Well, he's fallen from where? He weren't ever up there in the first place. The pile of fucking cat.
That's our old bastard.
The thing is, it's true though. He literally had half a decent season, and the media just jumped on him and hyped him up to be this amazing playmaker.
He's rubbish, absolutely rubbish. He did that one. He had a month where he scored about 2 or 3 really good goals, and he's been living off that ever since.
Yeah,
stupid cunt.
He's playing defence. he's playing for defence for Tottenham, but he's like first team France as a right winger.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. It's the same with Giroud though. Giroud can't even get in the Chelsea team, and he's playing up front for blimmin' France.
I don't know.
And Lacazette doesn't get shot.
I think Giroud signed a deal with the fucking devil. He starts over Lacazette for France.
There is some sort of blackmail going on that. And they're getting lucky with it.
There's a Mesut Ozil thing going on, I think, with France because I'm
really pleased.
Giroud can't get in the Chelsea squad, but he can get in the France squad. But
there's been history of that though.
That's because Mbappe's injured though.
But Deschamps, it's like since that World Cup, he's refused. Obviously, Lacazette missing it through injury. He's refused to pick him no matter what now. It's like no matter what he does, he's never going to be picked. I'd say chance.
Benzema as well. It's a lot
well,
of
Benzema's own fault though.
Well, I'm glad that he ain't getting picked personally, because you know
it's less worry for us for 2 weeks of would he get injured.
You guys excuse me a second while I mute my microphone and chase my son out of here.
Well, he said Giroud's only playing for France because Mbappe's injured anyway, so it's long may it continue that he gets picked over Lacazette, to be perfectly honest, because it just gives him more rest time with us. He ain't going to get injured on international duty, is he?
No. Yeah. Obviously, Andrew came in late. I don't know if they spoke about it when I disappeared for a couple of minutes. What was your thoughts yesterday whenever it was when he came out with his interview?
I did. I talked about it whilst you were off, so you can look at it later, you lazy cunt.
Oh
no, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I have turned full circle, to be perfectly honest, and I really want to get him in and give him a chance personally. I think that he's. The only problem is, and like I said to the other guys, is that when as football fans, we all know that I'm going to plough on as a professional. As football fans, we know that it takes any player several games, a run of games, uninterrupted run of games, to get into.
I'm listening to Andrew and watching Glenn.
Did you see the one where his curtain got ripped down? That on one of my shows.
Yeah,
that was well funny.
Absolutely ballistic. You didn't do a sunny though.
I know, yeah, exactly.
If anyone that doesn't know, Sonny was on Andrew's channel the other night, and then for some bizarre out of nowhere, had flipped out and disappeared mid show. So,
well, I've watched. Just to digress a little bit, I've watched it back and listened to it a couple of times now. I still can't get my head around why he did that. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, we all know it takes any player in the world several games, uninterrupted games, to get their flow, get the rhythm, get their form, get their match fitness. And when's he had that the last couple of seasons? He hadn't had an uninterrupted run of games. So that's what he needs. And I really would like to see him, whilst we've still got him during his sort of prime years, if you like, to give him another chance. I've got no problems if Ceballos starts. Obviously, I love Ceballos. I really do. On Monday, but I can't get past the fact I'd love to see Özil. I'd love to see Özil back in the squad and just see what he could do.
Yeah. I think. Do you think he'll start on Monday? Or do you think he'll bring him off the bench?
I think he'll be on the bench. I think he'll travel.
And then start him, and off with the game in mind on Thursday. Probably throw him out on Thursday for a run.
Yeah, that's more likely. I think he might come on Monday, but I've never seen him be effective off the bench either for anyone, whether that's Germany, whether that's Real Madrid, whether that's with us. He's always started, obviously, and I've never seen him be effective.
Yeah, he's a lot like Leo Messi. He likes to analyze the game and get a feel of it. If you just kind of throw him in, he's not too effective.
Yeah, so I don't know about that, but I think he will be part of the squad, and no one can say he shouldn't be part of the 18 every week, because I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, and I do think everything that happened to him earlier on in the season. I mean, have you read that full interview, Ryan?
I haven't read it, but I've read snippets of it. But I watched Emmy's, because they obviously asked him yesterday in his press conference, and I was like, listening to the whole thing. And it's like Emmy's like saying, like, obviously he's doing really well in pre-season, and then obviously then the events of what happened just before the season started that did have an effect on him, this, that, and the other, and then obviously that when integrated into the start of the season, it affected him even more. Then as he was coming back to full fitness, he got ill. But now we're he's starting to see more of his fitness levels and happy what he's seen in the training pits, which suggests that he's more. Which does suggest that he's contemplating and actually giving him more game time now.
I can't help believing that
forced.
he's been told. I can't help thinking that he's been told to put him back in the team. To make such a U-turn within a few days is just ridiculous. He said in his pressy.
Sorry, it was the timing as well. Literally, the day of the press conference, this was released. It's like his hand was forced. Literally.
I know. Well, he said in that press conference that he's been training better now for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And that it was only about a week ago that he sort of slagged him off, saying he's 2 weeks ago maybe. So that's just ridiculous. And I can't help but think that he's been told to put him back in the squad, because if we do want to get rid of him, then we've got to put him in a shop window for a start. You know, he's got to get match fit. He's got to impress people.
It was like the guys were saying earlier. It's like with Emery, it's like he says one thing about Ozils and then selection drops him. But with Xhaka, who's got all this stats-wise, it goes against him. He's most incidents that leads to goals against us, this, that, and the other. But he's our captain, so it's like he contradicts himself. And as I said, it's like his hands with if you've been dropped yesterday morning and everything like that. It's like going into it, his hand was forced, and all of a sudden he's saying certain things, as you said, that you weren't saying a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, one thing that hasn't improved this year is the Arsenal PR department, man. It's like one person says one thing, one person says the other, or things look obviously coordinated, like I felt yesterday with the Ozil story, and then Emery saying yes, he's looked better now. We don't know. It's all speculation, but I don't think they handle their PR very well at all.
I think one thing, Glenn, I do think the actual Arsenal PR department has improved this year. With Josh Kroenke coming out and talking to us a couple of times when he didn't have to. I think it's down to Emery that says weird things every now and then, like Poch does. And unfortunately, on my show on Wednesday, I couldn't remember what Emery had said that was really weird, and I still can't, unfortunately. But Pochettino has come out and said some really strange things that he should never say in public, which aren't going to give his players much confidence either. And he's always going on about wanting to leave all the time. And Emery hasn't covered himself in glory with a lot of the press conferences he's done as well. So I think that's not down to Arsenal PR department. I think it's the Emery saying the wrong things. And he's had he definitely didn't want to sell Mkhitaryan and Iwobi this summer.
No,
I don't think Emery. He played them an awful lot last year, and they sold him. I think they took the options away from him and sold them from under his nose. And
he really gave Iwobi a chance last season, and
he really did. And Mkhitaryan.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't understand why we got rid of him.
We're staying on that thing then. Do you think
guys,
then that with the board, do you believe that with that in mind that they don't see him going past this season, no matter what happens in the league, if he gets Champions League or not? If they're calling the shots like that.
Well,
I don't think he's ever been more than that. I think he's never been more than a transitional manager for the couple of seasons. And don't forget, he's not a manager; he's a head coach.
Yeah,
he's got to coach the players that he's given.
Have we sorted out if he has a 3-year contract yet? I heard that the other day, and I was like so sad. Does Emery actually have a 3-year contract?
I was always led to believe it was 2 years with an option of the third.
No, I think that is actually the incorrect one. I think the correct one, from what I read, is that he's got a 3-year deal, but after the second year, there's a break clause.
Okay.
There's a break clause after year 2.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a recent one, yeah.
Going back quick to the PR department, Andrew, you made a great point. I love how upfront they have been with the transfer market and how Josh Kroenke, and I hate saying good things about him, but I'm going to because, credit where it's due. They said in January we're going to do some stuff too. So, yeah, I take your point on that with the PR department being better in some aspects. As far as Iwobi, I don't want to touch. That's a hot topic still, even though he's not with us anymore. I've seen a couple Everton games. I can't say I've seen them all, but he hasn't looked much better. So I'm not mourning him the way you guys are as far as leaving.
I'm not mourning him. I'm just saying that Emery liked him and they sold him from under his nose. So I don't regret selling him personally. I think we got a good deal in the end.
I misunderstood you. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I just think that he hasn't got a say in who he sells and brings in.
Yeah, I personally feel like this is the first time Arsenal have had a really decent squad, and if anything bad happens now, it is fully the head coach's fault.
Let me ask you guys. I'm sorry because I don't want to forget, and I'm old and I forget shit. If he makes top 4, do you guys keep him another year? Emery?
Yeah.
Depends.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the reason why they did the 2-year and then a break deal, because it's, are you going to get Champions League in 2 years? If not, get rid of you. But if he does, then that'll probably be the 3rd year.
If he does get us top 4, but we still by the end of the season still don't have an identity in our style of play, then I'd have to say sorry. Get someone else who's more experienced that will straight from the off give us a style of play. I think it's all well and good, because otherwise you keep him no style of play, and then next season Chelsea can then strengthen because they're no longer on the transfer ban. Man United, we don't know what's going to happen there. Tottenham could strengthen depending on what happens there, and then we're back to square one where we were when we first came in the sense of we'll scrape results against the smaller teams, but when it comes against the bigger teams away from home, we'll get absolutely trounced on, and we'll miss out again. We're back to square one where we're not getting top 4 again.
I think we're the 3rd best team in the league, and that's my high watermark for Emery. 3rd place.
Squad-wise, yeah. But as I've been saying since like the 2nd game of the season, if we don't get top 4 at the minimum of 4th, my expectation is 3rd in the cup. No matter what, I don't care what cup it is.
I agree with Ryan completely with that. I feel like looking at the team we have at the minute and the situation other clubs are in the league, such as Man U,
down to the manager.
Especially with like Chelsea being on a transfer ban, Tottenham having a bad run. I feel like it's a bit of a Leicester winning the league season at the minute, as in we've got our chance to get 3rd. Where I feel like we haven't improved that much, but we should come 3rd because everyone else is doing so bad. But if we don't improve more by the end of the season, as you say, get an identity style of play, I can't see us getting to top 4 next season.
Every time someone talks about that Leicester season, without fail, my next thought is we should have won the league that year. But,
my opinion is I want 3rd in a cup as well, because and nothing else will do for me. And the only way I would also want him to stay is if we do somehow, after getting all the players back that have been injured, if we start really clicking and playing some really good attacking, attractive football that goes for the jugular and kills teams off rather than being the pathetic, useless bunch of idiots in the second half as we have been lately, then I'll be very happy to keep him. But at the moment, I absolutely hate watching the team play in the league. I can't stand it at the moment. It's dreadful.
In the league, we're playing this completely negative, pessimistic style of play. But when it comes to the Europa League, 2 games in the Europa League and against Forest, it's like a completely different Arsenal. We've actually got a style, an attacking style, an intent to go forward.
So frustrating. Even Chelsea has a style now. We still don't have a style.
Well, we are like the baddie in all the Rocky movies. we absolutely batter Rocky until the last punch, and then we get beaten at the end because we don't kill him off.
Oh, that's the best metaphor I ever heard in a while. Okay, you win the internet today, Andrew. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. So
we ain't got the killer instinct. We don't beat and just kill the teams off. We just let them come back into the match and beat us, or it looked like they're going to beat us, and it's just awful. I mean, we were so on top in the Bournemouth game, and the second half we just played like a load of pussies, and it was embarrassing.
One player
aggravated that game.
One player we haven't really touched on was Martinelli. Would you have him on the bench at least on Monday evening?
Oh, I rate Martinelli so high.
Yeah.
I think it's very unlucky that we have such a good attack with him in the squad as well, because Martinelli is going to be so good one day. He reminds me of like Gnabry, Carlos Vela. Like, he's going to be good one day. Give it 5 years, he'll be one of the best in the world. But like, is he going to get that chance at Arsenal?
At least we have Tony Pulis.
I'd rather have Martinelli as our third striker. So I'm glad that we have him. Yeah. That's my opinion. I'm glad he's on the squad and we didn't loan him out.
To think Man United thought he wasn't good enough or better than what they already have.
Like well, that just shows you where they are now.
Exactly.
I think he's the most exciting young player I've ever seen for Arsenal. I'm not. I don't think I'm actually exaggerating that. You're not from the first moment I saw him against Fiorentina, I've been hooked by the guy, and I think that
there's a hunger there as well. Like the Brazilian, when we were being brought up, I've seen Brazil's that hunger, that desire we haven't seen for so many years. This kid comes in, plays like 5 minutes in training with the Brazil squad, comes to us from the slumps of Brazil, and the second, fourth division, whatever it was, to a club of our standing in the Premier League. And he hit the ground running. He's scoring goals of what you'd expect an elite finished article striker, not someone you wouldn't. With these finishes, you wouldn't think he was a kid.
No, not at all. When we got him, one of the things they said is he was voted Countryside Player of the Year, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Was he barefoot kicking melons, and now he's playing for us? But I was so wrong about him.
I'll tell you what. There are two things I love about Martinelli, as well as his flair. It is his ability to dribble at such high speeds. He's one of our quickest players. He is one of our quickest players. I would argue he's just as quick as Bellerin. He is so quick, and he can dribble at that speed. And secondly, he always knows where the goal is. He's got this like sensor. He just like you saw his goal the other day where he just turned and shot. That is a striker's finish. He is a proper striker.
That shit is the shit you can't teach, man. I fucking love
that. It's natural talent.
I think he's a cross between Ronaldo and Carlos Tevez. He's got Ronaldo's pace and, it looks like aerial ability as well. But he's got the sort of stature and the work rate of Carlos Tevez and the skills. I think he's got everything, and he's more than a striker, because a lot of strikers, like I class Eddie Nketiah as a very, very promising striker. He gets into the right spaces in the 6-yard box, and he's just there. He's got a knack of being in the right place at the right time. But I think Martinelli's got more about him in the fact that the way that he can use the whole of the 18-yard box rather than just getting into the 6-yard box is something that you don't see very often. His skill is incredible, and the way he completely agree. No, I've never seen a better dribbler at his age either, and he's not like a normal Brazilian. He's his work rate and work ethic is I struggle to think of another player, especially at his age, that works as hard as he does and tracks back. You know, he tracked back from one end of the pitch to the other. I think it was the Standard, wasn't it? I think it might have been.
Standard,
I mean, it was just that is incredible, and he's really taken his football education very seriously within his own family as well. I read somewhere that his family actually hired him a nutritionist and a personal trainer, of their own money, and that just says everything about how serious he's taking his career. And I think the sky's the limit. He's got to be on the bench for every Premier League game, and he's got to start every single cup game.
Yeah,
he's got to.
I'll tell you what. A lot of you guys won't agree with this, but if we are playing Lacazette as our only striker and Aubameyang on the wing, I would play Martinelli a bit like Gabriel Jesus at Man City, and I would take Lacazette off around the 60th minute and rotate them as strikers. That's what I would do if I was Henry. And that would also mean Lacazette wouldn't get injured as much.
Well, especially going into this busy period now we're going to go into for the next month or two, where it's going to be game after game after game. That's going to help us benefit. That's going to benefit us with fitness levels for all our players.
You know, even though you're kind of off the Pepe train, Niall, I would take any three of you as manager over Unai Emery right now. I like what you're saying, guys. I have to go. I'm sorry. Next time you'll have me for the full whatever Gone with the Wind time length you'd like to do, Ryan. But I have to go now. Niall, I look forward to seeing your website. I saw some awesome videos on there. Andrew, always a pleasure. Ryan, you'll have me for the whole show next time. Okay.
No,
all right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll talk to you soon.
That's me, Glenn.
Take care, mate.
Take care.
Take care, bro.
Yeah.
No, Niall, I did a podcast about that subject, and I totally agree. I think he's got to get minutes all the time, this kid, and I'm really a big advocate for him coming on in the last 20 to 30 minutes and really ripping teams apart. Can you? I mean, I was so angry when we played against Spurs because I think it's a podcast I did before then. I really wanted him to be on the bench for that game and come on, because can you imagine what he would have done to
fucking their back line?
Sanchez, Davison Sanchez, that last half an hour.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm a very optimistic Arsenal fan, and all my life I've picked a youth player and I've gone, you're going to be great one day. And I did it with Serge Gnabry, I did it with Carlos Vela, and I haven't done it for a long time, I'll tell you what. But Martinelli, first time in a while, I've gone, you are going to be amazing one day. And I'm loving how every other Arsenal fan agrees with me. This is the first time people are actually agreeing that this guy is talented. This guy is good. And I feel like the Arsenal fans have kind of evolved. Do you guys agree? Like, we're putting faith in young talent and we're agreeing with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think people my age have been calling out for the youth to come through for, well, as long as I can remember. I mean, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and the whole starting 11 was all academy prospects and English players, and I've been longing for that for years and years and years. And apparently, I think it was on. I think it might have been the Purely Arsenal podcast, maybe. I might be wrong, but they talked about the academy at Hale End and how it's completely evolved, because not too long ago, only 4 or 5 years ago, the academy was under threat of being closed by the FA because it was it was completely substandard and not fit for purpose. And I know, and it's coincided because they pumped in millions of pounds and completely revamped it and started from the scratch, basically. And all these players coming through now would have been about I don't know, between 12 and sort of 13, 14, and you can see what difference it's made now, because apart from Iwobi, who else was there? Iwobi, I think that's it. Maybe, yeah. Maitland-Niles, very good point, and Bellerin. But it's not been prolific, has it? Really, in producing
until now.
You know, and we've got a whole crop now, and we've got some youngsters a couple of years behind as well that I've watched highlights of. Like Sam Greenwood, the real Greenwood, and there's another guy, and his name's completely escaped me. He's a Mexican-sounding name. He looks absolutely unbelievable. Aziz. I think his name Miguel Aziz. Yeah, he looks incredible. Yeah. The game I watched, the under-18s game, he literally just ripped this team apart, and he ran the game. And he looks incredible. But if you're good enough, you're old enough in my book. And Martinelli should not be held back just because of his age. I mean, didn't stop Michael Owen, didn't stop Wayne Rooney, and the list could go on probably. And it didn't stop Kylian Mbappe. He's still only 20, is he? Yeah.
There are so many.
He's been the best player in the world, probably.
Like if you were going to list some of the top 10 best players in the world, you could very arguably include some under 21s. You could include Mbappe. You could include De Ligt. You could maybe even put Vinicius Jr. in there. I know Neymar said he's a quality player the other day. Like, there are so many good young players at the minute, and why can you not put Martinelli in that bracket? I feel like we should give him a chance. We should push him in the team.
Well, exactly. Well, look at Lippo Fati from Barcelona as well.
Fati. I watched the full Barcelona game. I think it was his debut. I actually watched. It was just on telly on like ITV4 or so. I was watching it, and I saw this Fati kid come. I'm like, this guy is quality. This kid, I think he was 16. Yeah. The commentator was like 16. I'm like, bloody hell, he's playing like Messi. He's got that confidence. He's just running at players, literally small little guy, mental.
I mean, I know that obviously completely different level and whatever, but Rochdale had that 16-year-old kid that scored at Old Trafford against Man United. They also had a 15-year-old kid on the bench. I don't know whether he came on, but he had a 15-year-old kid on the bench. And I'm not saying that they're completely different levels, obviously, but They've got faith in them at their level to play them on the pitch. And that kid had a school exam the next day. Imagine he went into school, after scoring at Old Trafford. But if you're good enough, you're old enough. It's an old cliche, but I firmly believe in it. And you should not be held back just because of your age. And he's got the build as well. He's actually got the build of someone much older.
Of an elite player of his ilk, of that ilk. But he said he models his career around Ronaldo. As you said about his physique, you can see that in how he plays. And as I said, it's that Brazilian drive that we've always, me and yourself, have always been grown up and seen. But into the last 8 or 9 years, we haven't really seen it with the Brazil squad itself. But he's got that in himself. And what was it? I think it was the Standard Liège game. We were 4 or 5-0 up, and he was still getting the ball, doing his tricks and flicks, and still running at the defence, trying to get more goals.
He scored that 5th goal, didn't he? In injury time, he scored that 5th goal.
He did.
Yeah,
it was incredible. But if you look at it from an international team point of view, Firmino, arguably not that much of a clinical striker. Like in that Brazil team, he's probably not first choice. Gabriel Jesus isn't maybe Brazil's standard of that elite level that Brazil require. I'd say as a place for Martinelli in that team, like Richarlison was pushing into that Brazil squad.
Well, he could play for Italy as well.
Oh, is he not picked yet?
He can play for Italy or Brazil. So he's got a choice. And I think the Italian team are really exciting at the moment. I think their average starting age in the last international was just gone with 24. They've got a really young team. If I was him, I'd seriously look at them as well because they could be going places. But I think, I don't know. Have a look at or listen to my podcast, the one immediately after the bloody Fiorentina game. I was raving about him, and I said he's a new Ronaldo. The way he picked up that ball and ran the whole length of the pitch and just took it reminded me exactly of when Ronaldo joined Man United and he was 17. It was really, believe it or not, nowadays he was getting pelters from the media, from the fans, from his own fans at Man United. Every shot he had went into Rosette, but he had all the skills in the world, but he had no end product like a Walcott. Exactly. And but he kept trying. His head never dropped. He kept trying and trying and trying.
I honestly don't doubt that. Like as I say, looking at you got Carlos Vela, he's just broke the record in the MLS. You've got Gnabry, who's arguably Germany's best player at the minute. Every time I see the Germans in the comment sections, they're like, "Where's Gnabry? Where's Gnabry?" And I'll tell you what, Arsenal can produce some quality talent. And I just, as you say, I look at Martinelli. Martinelli is one of them. He is. Everyone can tell.
The thing with Gnabry is that Wenger allowed Tony Pulis to get into his head and convince him he wasn't good enough.
Bloody Tony Pulis. Don't get me started on that. I remember that. I remember when he said that, and I was like punching walls. I was like, "Are you an idiot? Are you actually stupid?" Tony Pulis, you're the manager of Stoke, for God's sake. Stop listening to it. It was West Brom at the time, wasn't he?
West Brom at the time, but it's gone on. Gnabry's gone on then, left, gone, went to Bremen for a year. Now he's at Bayern Munich, and he's literally a few weeks ago turned up at the enemy's in his eyes because where he's come from, and dominated them, put 4 past him.
And then he immediately tweets and Instagram.
North London is red.
I love that. I knew he would do that. Everyone was like, "Oh no, he left Arsenal." But I'm like, "Nah, just wait. He's gonna say it." Arsenal's like, he is a gunner. He was in that whole like Jack Wilshere, Ramsey like youth setup that Wenger brought up. They're all proper good.
British core.
Yeah, British core, Oxlade. People, they'll always be good. Like, I wouldn't say they helped us much, but they definitely will always be Arsenal, all of them.
Well, Oxlade Chamberlain after the Champions League final was like, me and you, because you're talking to Per Mertesacker, and they're like, we both know how much that meant to the other side of North London. That was for them sort of thing. But we still hold a place in that sort of place. We still hold a place in their heart because obviously we gave them that stepping stone to go on to do what they've gone and done.
Yeah, you might not agree, but I've seen a lot of interviews Van Persie's done recently, and even he said the same thing. Arsenal will always hold a place in his heart, and obviously he left to go to Man United just to win the league and whatever. But it is a major stepping stone in his career as well.
Yeah, because
going back to what you said before, I firmly believe that you can tell. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost you then. I firmly believe that you can tell a really good quality player within a very short period of time of watching them. I really do. I think Jose Mourinho famously said that he can tell a good player within 10 seconds of watching him play. And that's a bit far-fetched, but I still believe that you can tell within a short space of time if someone's really got it or not.
You can.
And
some of the best like football it will just click with them. You'll see it on the pitch. Like if you've ever watched a player for like 10 seconds and you've had an opinion about him, it's probably correct, or it's ended up being correct. But if you overthink
I just think you can, and I get that feeling with Saka. I get that feeling with Martinelli, but Martinelli's on a different level, I think, than everyone else. I don't think it's going to take what you said earlier, 5 seasons. I don't think it will. I think he could be one of the best players in his position in the world within about a couple of years when he's about 20.
I think so too. Yeah, 2021, I see him being up there. What's your opinion on Reece Nelson?
I like Reece Nelson. He's not at the same level, but he's going to be a good player, and he's going to have a lot more end product than Iwobi has as well, because he's been getting pelters as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people develop at different paces, and he's only had, I think I'm right in saying, he's only played 4 times so far. And if you count the goal that was chalked off through no fault of his own against Burnley, he's got 2 goals in those starts.
He did,
and a couple of assists.
And
so it's not exactly that bad, is it, really?
No, we were talking about the Arsenal PR department earlier. And I went to the Armory this year. I did a stadium tour, and there was so much PR, press, and stuff put on Reece Nelson's shoulders. Out of all the youngsters, he seemed to be the face of the youth setup, the face of the club. And I feel like they only did that for Nelson. Saka, you heard nothing about. You saw no photos of Saka. He was in the same level as Nelson was in terms of coming back in the team. You saw it with Smith Rowe as well. And I feel like the pressure has kind of got to both Smith Rowe and Nelson in terms of just the PR department. I think they screwed up with that.
Well, I do think he's going to be a good player for us, a very good squad player. But he's just not got that extra X factor in the same way that Saka and Martinelli have. But it doesn't mean he's not a good player. And it doesn't mean he couldn't get it as well. But it's like I said, 4 games with 2 goals, or albeit one of them chalked off because of Nacho Monreal being in an offside position, which he didn't have any control over. And I'm sure he's got a couple of assists as well. So he's not exactly doing that badly. And the only trouble is, I think he could probably be a star candidate for going out on another loan, because I can't see where he's going to get in ahead of Saka and Martinelli at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because at the start of the season, everyone said Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe are going to integrate into the team, and then we got Ceballos, who I'm going to admit not many fans had heard of, and then Saka starts coming through. We get Martinelli on the cheap, and before you know it, we're talking about these other players to people. There was no hype about them at all, and the players where the hype was, there's nothing. You know, we're saying they should go out on loan.
Well, I think that Smith Rowe should be the understudy for Pepe, personally. I do want to see him on the bench. Yeah. Well, who else have we got to play wide right, really?
That's very true, actually. You could obviously put Nelson. He's more of a right mid, though, not really a wide right.
That's what everyone thought, but apparently he prefers coming in from the left. I read that on I think it might have been on the Arse blog or the Arsenal official website, that he prefers coming in from the left. So I don't know, but I would still have Smith Rowe on the bench to understudy Pepe, personally.
When was the last time we had just a normal right mid and left mid instead of these wingers? I can't remember. It's a long time.
Probably, yeah.
Oh God knows.
I don't think we're
probably about 10 years.
Well, a long time. But do you know what? I mean, this sounds really crazy, and you know, I'll get pelters a lot from people for saying this, but I would actually quite like to try, maybe in the Europa League or maybe in the Carabao Cup, the old-fashioned 4-4-2, once, and just to see what Pepe will be like as an actual proper right winger, and have Lacazette and Aubameyang up front.
Yeah.
No team plays like that anymore, and you get no, but doesn't mean that you can't.
That would also open up another space on the left mid.
Yeah, exactly.
Saka could play on the left mid, or Martinelli.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we'll get a lot more solidity personally, but people will say, "Oh no, that's really old-fashioned." But you don't have to be a sheep. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. It's not the law to say that you have to do what Pep Guardiola does or Jurgen Klopp does. You can actually choose your own formations, and I'd just love to see what it'd be like, because I think that would be quite a solid formation for us, and it would mean that Lacazette and Aubameyang would be in their preferred. Well, I want them in the box because they're two of the best finishers in Europe. And yes, Aubameyang can play coming in from the left, but we still lose goals. We would lose goals by doing that. And I think by playing a 4-4-2, it alleviates this problem of, how do we fit them all in up front? How do we play all three up front? How are they going to interchange? Well, I think that would eliminate that issue, and we'd get Saka, Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Pepe all in the team. And I think it's worth a try, personally.
Definitely.
Maybe try maybe give it a go against Liverpool. Got a bit of lose in that game. We'll go into underdogs, so much to try it. Cannot do what he did against them in the league, because otherwise no matter what team he puts out, we'll get turned over again.
I know, and I'm not going to start down that road again, because that'll just leave me in a rage.
It's a couple of weeks away anyway.
In a good mood, but no, well, you know how I feel about that. I got really enraged about that Liverpool game, and my mood really changed from there on in, to be perfectly honest. But I going back to what we said earlier, just to reiterate, I don't think that anything less than third really is a good result for Emery this season at all. I think finishing fourth is one below par. Well, obviously that's not golfer, but you know what that means. What the word is in golf for that. Yeah. But I think that's scraping into fourth position is not good enough for this squad.
Scraping around the squad,
I hate to be optimistic as well, but we are on Man City's tail at the minute, and I know no one's looking at it like that, but there is a very good chance we could. I wouldn't say finishing above Man City, but be ahead of them for a little bit.
Well, if Palace turn up tomorrow and take points off them tomorrow, and obviously we then go on to win on Monday, we go above them by 2. We go above them by a point.
Exactly. And
well, we should be above them by 2 points, because we shouldn't have dropped points against Watford, should we?
No,
I mean, this is the whole problem. This is the whole reason why we're having this discussion about Emery, because we should have beaten Spurs and we should have beaten Watford, and we should be above them. We should be above them. So we should be 4 points above them. And people have go. Another thing about this Emery situation that everyone is going on about. Well, it's only 8 games into the season. Exactly. It's only 8 games into the season. However, it's taking exactly the same pattern as last season. We had that great bit of form after the first 2 games last season, and we all know how it ended. And you can see the pattern in the games, because there's no way you should be watching the Bournemouth game after going in at 1-0 half time from behind a sofa, because you can't. You're just worried about what's going to happen. It's like, I mean, look what happened against Watford. It's ridiculous. 2-0 up at half time against the bottom club in the league, and look what happened. So there's no reason for that other than that is poor coaching, because we've got a very good squad. We've got the best squad we've had in a decade. There's no excuses.
What made it that result even worse for Emery, personally for Emery, would be that 6 days later, they go to the Etihad and get absolutely trounced. Was it 6-7-0? Maybe
8-0.
8-0, sorry, yeah.
And what that is because Watford are so top heavy. Their attack is decent, and then their defence in the field is just inexistent. Now, I see them getting relegated, but if you give Watford a chance, they will take it. They're that type of team. It's the same as Sheffield United that would come up against soon. They're that type of team. Now, if you are a team like Arsenal, you've got to attack teams like that. Now, I'm hoping we attack Sheffield on Monday, or Sheffield United on Monday, because we need to. Otherwise, it's just going to be like Watford all over again, and we're going to give them a chance, and they might get a goal, and then before you know, we're on the back foot, and we got all these youngsters that will just start panicking. And I'm a little concerned.
I don't think it's these youngsters that will panic. That's the thing. I think it's still the more experienced players. Our youngsters are fearless, and that's why we're playing so well in the cups. And on Thursdays, it's the youngsters are showing the more experienced players the way forward at the moment.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
The more youngsters we've got on the pitch, I think the better we're doing at the moment. So I've got no issue with that. But it's the constant picking of Socrates and Xhaka, and that's the problem. Anyway, I'm going to stop the negativity for 1 minute, and I'm going to play devil's advocate. And the reason I'm holding off an awful lot, believe it or not, I am, is that I'm really hopeful that it's going to make a massive difference when we've got Tierney and Bellerin on the pitch, hopefully Holding and Lacazette as well. And I still think we're going to have to give it another 5 or 6 games after Bellerin started. Well, Bellerin himself, we're not going to see the best of him until after Christmas, probably sort of February time. But he's still better than anything else we've got as he is right now. So we've still got to give him another 6 games or so to build up a really good relationship with Pepe on the right-hand side, because that is going to be a big, significant uplift for Pepe's game. And I've always said I'm really positive from the summer with the signings that we made. So I'm holding off being really negative until we have had the full defence available to Emery. And Lacazette back in the squad. But we have to, he's simply got to recognise that the one constant in the team that causes us issues is Granit Xhaka. And I've said 100 times, I've got nothing against him personally or as a player, but he's just not good enough a player for Arsenal. He doesn't offer in anything else than any of the other midfield options we've got. In fact, I'll go as far to say, and this is another odd one that people don't think of, but I actually think that Ceballos is a really good option for the role that Emery's got earmarked for Xhaka. That sounds a bit odd because he's a very creative player and we should have him there. But I actually think he's got an awful lot of the good skills that he offers everything that Xhaka does with his passing and everything, but he offers a lot more than Xhaka does. He actually can run with the ball and progress the ball. And if we had him, Guendouzi and Willock, for example, on the pitch, not got nothing against Torreira either, but him, Guendouzi and Willock would be my ideal midfield. Actually, I wouldn't say no to Torreira in one of those positions. But they're all interchangeable. But that midfield in itself offers so much energy, a lot of determination and ball winning capabilities as well, and progressive play, linking the midfield and the defence and the attack. I think it just offers everything. And like I said, the one constant in all of our poor performances this season is Granit Xhaka, unfortunately. And the sooner that Emery sees that, he could lose him his job.
That's very true. Andrew, what you said about Ceballos playing deeper in that, I'm pretty sure when we played Liverpool, we did play Ceballos on a deeper role, and I think we were playing Willock and Guendouzi as well at some points, and Ceballos didn't seem very comfortable. He
was playing on the left.
Yeah,
he was playing on the left of the diamond.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure.
It needs to be a double pivot. We can't leave one player on their own. Now, it's going to be better when we've got the 2 proper fullbacks, because at the moment, we all know the Bible story about when Moses parted the Red Sea. And that's what happens to our midfield at the moment. It allows all the opposition to run straight through the pitch and come right to the edge of our box. Now, hopefully, when we've got Tierney and Bellerin back in the team, then the midfield won't have to do that quite so often, because they've been going left and right naturally to cover the poorer quality fullbacks that we've had on the pitch. We all know what Kolasinac is like defending. So
terrible.
Our midfield pivot has been pulled left and right and opened up massive gaps. And Xhaka is quite often, when he has stayed back, he's all on his own to cover about 40 yard round him. He can't do that. And if we had Ceballos as part of a double pivot, maybe with Guendouzi, and then either Willock or Torreira and Guendouzi a bit further forward, then I think that would be an excellent option. I really do. But I think it was it's one of the cup games. It may have been Standard, where I saw for a period of time. It might have been Forest or Standard. I can't remember, but Ceballos was in that area for about a 5 or 10 minute period, and that's when I first started thinking about it. And he was doing a fantastic job there, and it's worth exploring, I think. And to have Willock or Guendouzi the further forward because of the skill set that they are. We saw what Guendouzi could do when he got the ball, took the ball by the horns and just ran into the box. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing that Willock would do as well, and create havoc and draw players to them and win penalties. Undoubtedly, they'll win penalties. So,
yeah, my favourite game that Ceballos did was the one against Newcastle. He looked absolutely deadly in that game, and it was ever since that game, I think a lot of Arsenal fans decided he is the first team material. You know,
I love the guy. Yeah, I really do. His passion is infectious as well. And similar way to David Luiz is, and you can see what an important cog in the wheel that David Luiz is after the goal he scored against Bournemouth. You could just see all of his teammates and what they thought of him.
Yeah,
he is
senior.
He is not. Well, he's not the captain in name, but I think he is the captain on the pitch, according to all the rest of the team. Personally,
yeah,
because he
captain pick.
So often you see he's the only one shouting and telling players where to be. He's been let down by his midfield and the players around him so far this season. And hopefully, when we get the full back four in position, we're going to see the best of him. And I think he's good for 6 to 8 goals a season as well. By the way,
could be. So he's a goal scorer. I've seen his long shots. He is pretty deadly at shooting.
He's certainly an organizer as well. He really is, and people don't agree with me. I probably reckon about 70 or 80% of the keyboard warriors on Twitter hate David Luiz because we did this and you did that. Well, I'm sorry, but you don't turn into a shit player overnight when you've only conceded 3 penalties since 2000 and whatever it was, 2011. You know, he's never played behind such a poor midfield and alongside such poor defence in his entire career. He had a culture shock when he came into our team, and I think he's done really well, to be perfectly honest.
Also, with David Luiz, because obviously I was there for his first starting game against Burnley, and most of the home games since. And as you said, he's organising. His first game, and you've got like Socrates panicking, and he's turning around, bellowing, "Calm down, we've got this. Calm down, do this, do that." He's dictating, as Andrew said. We haven't had that for so long. Because he's given away a couple of penalties, everyone complains about, play for Chelsea. That's it. No, we've got to complain about him.
What's your guys' view on Papa at the minute? Do you think he's good enough?
I've never liked him. He's another one that's not good enough to play for Arsenal. He has 85 to 90% good games, but every game, bar none, those 10 to 15%, he just does mindless shit, and brain just goes for a curry and chips.
I think I found, myself included in the rest of the fan base, sort of overhyped him last season because he was pretty much best of a bad bunch last year. That was available for the whole season. And
it's because he punches the air and clenches his fist. That's what people think. Oh wow, he's a great player. You actually watch him; he's a shit player.
Since the back end of last season, I think now, the Everton away game onwards, he's been absolutely, to be polite, dire. To be absolutely polite, he's not getting any better. And this is why when people say, who do you drop out of Socrates or Papa in terms of bringing holding in, I'll drop Socrates all day long because Luiz, as we all know, he can ping a ball 40, 50 yards.
Yeah, quality pass.
No question. And also with holding, he likes to play with ball at feet. So you've got a balance of the two of them, and because obviously Luiz can speak English, and he's played in this league for so long, he can sort of help guide holding a bit more easier than what Socrates, who doesn't know this league as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the only slight issue, because I would love Holding and Louise at the back. The only slight issue with it, but I'm sure it's not insurmountable, is the fact that they're both left-sided central defenders.
Yeah,
so one of them is good. Well, it's going to be Holding. Let's face it, because Louise is a senior player, so Holding's going to have to play on the right. But I'm sure he can adapt. And I think Holding very comfortable on the ball, but he is more of an old-fashioned type of defender in lots of ways, where he would stay back and allow Louise to sort of make his own foray forward. So I think they'll complement each other really well.
See, it's what you said there, Andrew. I'm sure he can adapt, is the words that have been haunting me for the last 15 years at Arsenal. Like,
I know. I
relied on players to adapt, and they haven't.
He's young enough though to adapt. He is young enough to adapt, and I think he's shown that in his short spell that he's been with the club so far that he's an intelligent player. I do think he's an intelligent player. I think he's got a lot of the Tony Adams about him. I really do, to be perfectly honest. And he is going to make mistakes. We've just got to, as a fan base, just support our players for God's sake. Allow the youngsters to make the odd mistake, because I don't need to go down that road, but we're just ridiculous at that. And I don't want Mustafi back in the first team at the moment at all. But I've got massive respect for the guy, the way he's come back after all the shit that he was pelted with. Not only him, but his entire family, and death threats and all that sort of.
Yeah,
and the way he's come back has shown strength. Yeah, I feel really sorry for the guy. I hope he does leave just for his own sake, because he don't deserve that shit.
Yeah.
And yes, we were all angry with him for making, but that was individual mistakes in a poor defence again. Last season we didn't have the squad that we've got now, so it was even worse. So, and yes, he made a lot of mistakes. But the guy don't deserve to have death threats given to his kids and his wife. And
no one deserves that. No one.
And the way he's come back has shown a lot of mental strength for the guy. He hasn't put a foot wrong. That pass he made to Tierney for the goal that we scored, the Martinelli header, absolutely first class, that ball. So just give the guy a bit of credit when he needs it.
Yeah, and he's one of those players, isn't he? It's the fans don't want him. You can't have him. That's kind of.
I don't want him in the team. We've got better options now. I don't want him in the first, but it doesn't mean that you can't say, actually, well done, mate, because you've shown some amazing character to come back from what you have in a short space of time. So fair play to you. And the Pepe bashing already is just getting on my nerves, because he's only had 5 starts in the Premier League. Dennis Bergkamp, one of the best players in the world ever, has already said in that interview with Ian Wright, it takes 6 to 7 months. He wasn't talking about Pepe at that point. He just said 6 to 7 months. You've got to allow for a person to come and live in a new country, in a new team, with a new manager, with new teammates, learning new climate, new food, everything. So just give the guy a break and he'll come good. He's got a 5-year contract. Personally, I don't think we'll see the best of him until maybe even next season. But so what? He's here for the long haul. He's not here on loan. He hasn't got to perform immediately, but he's still contributing positively. And in every game he's played so far, you can see that there's a great player there somewhere. So just give the guy a chance and just back him.
Yeah, he's not scoring goals, but he's starting to get the assists going as well. We've got the assist in the last game, the assist in Lacazette's goal in the North London derby, another assist there. So he's still got that. It's just gradual. It's going to take time, as you said. It's like I said at the beginning of the show with Bergkamp. It took him time because he's a new country, even the language. You've got to learn a new language and get on the same wavelength as his new teammates. And everyone's forgetting he didn't get a pre-season with us. He had his international shoot with his country.
Yeah, people overlook that as well, don't they?
A couple of weeks late, a week and a half signed for us, and then next thing you know, people were expecting the world of him.
Right, well, just put yourself right in the. Say, for example, tomorrow, Niall, you got a new job in the south of France. And I don't know what you do for a living, but just bear with me for a second. Say you work in an office and you had to manage people, right? But you got stationed in the south of France and you have to go there tomorrow and start your new job on Monday. Yeah. And then every single week, on the Friday of every single week, because I'm presuming you won't work on a Saturday. Every Friday of every single week between now and May, you've got to do a big presentation to all of the board of directors and online to 2 million people around the world, right? So say you've got to do that without having somewhere to live, without having any friends, without speaking the language, and all the rest that comes with it. Now, how do you think you'd perform?
Well,
people have got to realise that these people are human beings.
Exactly.
That's a precious situation that you would have to do every Friday. But he's got to play in front of 80,000, I'll start again, 60,000 people every week, and then God knows how many on the telly.
And he's got to perform. Price tag, though, isn't it? The price tag on his head. It's like a bounty. It's like a wanted poster. The way people.
That's not his fault, though, is it? And we've got to realise that. And so far, we've only paid 1/5 of that, and we've only got to pay 1/5 every year. So people have got to get it out of their heads with these. As hard as it is, people have got to disregard how much someone has cost, because it ain't their fault. It's just the way just stupid things are going. It's all Neymar's initial transfer. It's all down to that, really.
And Pogba as well.
Yeah. So people have got to get that out of their head and just realise that these people are human beings, and it's not easy. And everyone's different. Now, we could have signed another player from France, and he could have adapted a lot quicker. But it doesn't mean that that's a bad mark on Pepe, because he's an individual. So let's just give him a chance.
Before we wrap up, we're going to do score predictions. What are your score predictions for, obviously, Monday night? First game, we've so far, touch wood, never lost a single game after the international break. I don't know how long. So that's why I've touched wood, so I'm not jinxing it.
I think it's going to be a really tough game. I'm gonna go for the honest opinion. I think Sheffield will score, maybe first, but I don't think we'll win by much. I think it'll be 2-1. I think it'll be a 2-1 win. That's what I think.
Andrew,
1-0.
Oh, bloody good.
1-0. I don't think we're going to win. I really don't. Monday night up in Sheffield, I just don't think we're going to win. I think they're a better team than people give them credit for. Liverpool only beat them 1-0. They're a really, really well organised team. I don't think I understand a lot of people. That manager they've got is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and he served his whole career right the way from the conference. He knows how to combat the best of teams, and he's showing it so far this year. They've got a team full of players from that he's brought up with him from League One, and they're still in the team. Well, I just think they're going to do a job on us, and I think we'll be lucky to get out of there with 1-0. And that's being realistic and knowing what the opposition, because it's not because I think we're shit, we're absolutely shit. I think they're a good team, and I think the one saving grace is that we've got Tierney back in the team, and that gives me a bit more confident. And the other good thing is that they've been better away from home than they have at home. So potentially I could go with Niall's score and say 2-1. But in all honesty, I think everyone should realise that getting out of there without being beaten would be fairly good, because they're going to turn over a lot of better teams this year. Honestly, I really do think that. I think they're going to stay up. So I'm going to be confident. I'm going to go for the same as Niall. I'm going to say 2-1 because of Tierney and hopefully Lacazette being back and Bellerin maybe. So yeah, I'm going to. I think the Tierney factor is going to give us a lot of extra to our game. So yeah, I'm going to go for 2-1.
This is definitely one of those years where all the newly promoted sides are really good, and a lot of Prem sides will get relegated. I can't see much of the newly promoted sides not.
I said beginning of the season, my thing to go down was Newcastle. Who was it? Newcastle, Brighton. I think it was Burnley. I think I said. Obviously, Brighton's flying in the bottom half of the table.
Two of them, and Watford, I'd say.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
I think, as much as I don't like to say it, I really do think that Norwich are going to go down. I love the way they play football, and I really rate their manager as well. Parker, he's a great. He's going to be managing one of the biggest teams. I think he could be a Bayern manager easy one day. One day he will. I do think that Villa are going to struggle as well. I think they're going to have a really good patch, and then I think they're going to go. They'll hit a period when can't buy a win. They're going to be close. I do think they're going to be close. I do think Brighton's going to be okay. I do rate their manager as well.
I'll tell you what.
I think that Newcastle will go down. I didn't think Watford.
I've been watching Crystal Palace a lot this season, and I've not been paying too much attention to the scorelines, but I've been looking at Palace and I've been like, you're getting relegated. And then I looked to the league the other day and they're like top half. They're doing well. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Palace right now. They're playing terribly, but they're getting the results.
Yeah. Because of the opposition they're playing, actually even worse than they are.
They've just had a really easy.
I genuinely thought they were before a ball had been kicked. I would have put Palace down as being relegated. I honestly think they'll be all right now under Roy Hodgson, because they needed to keep hold of Zaha because they couldn't have sold their two best players, Wan-Bissaka and him. There would have been uproar. But I thought when they kept him, that his head was elsewhere, and I thought he was going to have a shocker. And to be fair, he hasn't pulled up trees. He hasn't pulled up trees, but
he's played terribly.
I think just the fact that he's on the pitch gives everyone a lift, though, for that club and the fans.
Well, he did really well for Ivory Coast the other day. He set up Pepe for the goal.
He did, yeah. He looked that was.
It was very nice what Zaha said the other day as well. He was bigging up Pepe, saying how he needs more time to adapt. So it's nice that he's got him.
But he doesn't want to burn his bridges. He still wants to join Arsenal, doesn't he? He wants to be on the pitch with him on the left. Yeah. He's no mug.
But Ivory Coast set up here. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And Drogba running.
Well, do you know what though? Going back to what we said before, I wouldn't want to pay a bucket load of money for Zaha when we've got Martinelli and Saka. I know that's people will say, "Oh yeah, but he's Premier League." Of course, at the moment, he's a better player than them. But it would completely put a brick wall in front of their development. And I'm really loath to think that.
Here's a question: if you could strengthen one area of the pitch, where would it be? Like I'm talking first team player. So I'm not talking second backup. I'm talking a player to go directly into the team, push everyone out.
Defensive midfielder.
Yeah, you think that's interesting because we have three of them.
Yeah, we definitely want. I definitely want a commanding central. You know, we all want a new Vieira, but someone as close to him as possible, but with more stature than Torreira, to sit in front of the back. Because I think I'm quite happy with the defenders now, which is bizarre.
Really?
But I think we've actually got a lot of decent defenders now, and I'm really excited about Saliba coming in next year.
Yeah, but say remember he's coming in as well, haven't we? Sort of remember that.
I'm praying for a holding in Saliba.
The other things are some good quality backup fullbacks, and but to go straight into the team, definitely a commanding central defensive midfielder.
Yeah, we have so many midfielders, but they're just not good enough. But you can't tell who's good enough. It's a bit blurry in the midfield at the minute, I think.
It's always been the same since Wenger joined the club. We've had some fantastic attacking midfielders. But since Vieira left and Gilberto left, we've never replaced them. That's an old cliche now, but it's true. It would have been Abu Diaby, but he was so unlucky with injuries. I feel really, really bad for him. I love that guy. I really did. I really rated him.
That was a good 13, 14 years ago now. So you're going to get like 14, 15-year-old kids coming up and going, who the hell's Vieira?
There's no doubt somewhere there is a Vieira replacement, and we've got to find him. So there's Thomas Partey looks a good player. I don't mind him.
Let's go. Yeah, cost us a bit, but it'd be worth it.
Yeah, we need a tall defensive mid. We haven't had one of them. I remember when Yaya was on form in the 13-14 season, everyone was talking about how he would be perfect for Arsenal. So
he would have been, and he was with Arsenal, wasn't he? As we all know, but
we do concede a lot of goals from set pieces and corners, mainly because of the height of our team.
He's still playing Yaya Toure, you know.
Who?
He's looking for a club now.
Really? I don't know that.
Seriously.
He hasn't retired, no.
Oh, he never gives up, that boy.
No, I don't think. Well, the last time I heard, he was still looking. He wasn't retiring. He was looking for a club. But anyway.
Yeah. No, yes,
I'm not saying
retired, but yeah.
No, but anyway, I'm gonna have to go. But I do. Yeah, I am. After everything I've said in this episode, I still reiterate. I actually am still very positive about the squad. I'm not positive about the manager though, and I would always support him whilst he's here. But I've got no faith in the guy whatsoever. And I've said that right from the word go. I wasn't happy when he's appointed, and I haven't changed my mind. I've not gone on just what he's been doing with Arsenal. I've been going on his previous job record. You know, I've read up about his previous. Do you know what I always find about players, about managers, about everyone? You read up what the fans say about them, not what the press have been saying about them, but what are the fans of the clubs that they've managed? Just have a read about what they've said about the manager, because that's where you get the real truth. And not one of the clubs that he's ever managed, has he been popular with the fans.
Yeah, I did follow PSG a lot when Neymar and that came there, and Emery was obviously the manager there. Emery is brilliant at signing the right players. He's very good at building a squad. He's a cup winner. He's more of a cup manager than a league manager, a bit like the Southgate Deschamps type guy. But as you say, he is he's just not that good at. Once he's got a team, he's not that good at selecting the team. You know, he's not like Pep. He's not like Klopp. He's not like you saw it with PSG. He was terrible at managing that squad. We've got a squad now. He's showing that he's not that good at.
Same Felches.
And I've got to admit, it's the first time I'm kind of pushing away from the pro Emery side, but I'm hoping he can bring it back. But we'll have to wait and see, guys.
Yeah. I'm going to wrap this up now, guys. Thanks for coming on, and obviously we'll be back again on Monday for the watch along, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, you can both come back on again soon, sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was late.
No worries. Where can people find you as well?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, my name with an underscore at the end, and obviously on YouTube, just Niall Moran.
I never ever thought I'd be on a podcast with one of the One Direction boys, so I'm so happy to have been on here tonight.
I hear that daily. People are like, "Do you hear that a lot?" I'm like, every day. You know. Maybe one day on YouTube I'll have him knocked off the top spot. We'll find out.
Anyway, but you can find me on Twitter at From Dial Square, and if you just search From Dial Square to Where on YouTube. Please subscribe. Really want to get the numbers up. We do a really good show every Wednesday. Ryan, you've been on it a few times now, which is, I think it's a really good fun. I think hopefully you'd agree. Niall, I'd love to have you on one day. Maybe if you're free on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It'd be great to have you on the show as well one day. I've really enjoyed being with you on this show today. So, please subscribe. Please hit the notifications button, and please watch on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock.
Awesome. It's been great chatting to you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, and you too. Oh, yeah, as I said, be back on Monday night after watch along for that, and then go from there basically. And until then, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, Tottenham lose against Watford. That'd be brilliant. United could
probably will. Yeah.
Put another positive. United could be a bottom 3 club by the time we kick off on Monday night. If results go the way.
Come on, you Gunners.
Yeah. Up the Arsenal boys.
See you later.
See you later.